Okay, welcome. We're going to start this webcast. Before we start, just some of the housekeeping stuff. That this section is going to be recorded, so other faculty member later they can just click on the archive and then watch or listen to the information if they wanted to. And also on your screen, on the lower left-hand side, you will have a microphone icon, which you can click on that to unmute yourself if you have any questions. Right in the middle on the bottom, there's also a chat icon, which you can click on that and enter the questions that you might have. And we have people here to monitor the questions for us, and so feel free to ask question anytime you want. You can interrupt anytime you want as well, okay? And so without further ado, and so we're going to start the recording. And let me just go ahead and introduce you to our panel. We're very fortunate to have David Correll on my right, coming from the ITS. He's the Director for Application Management Services, and he has an extensive background for the IT, the database management, and close to 20 years of the VP, Senior VP for IT from Bank of America. And my name is Roger. I'm the Director for Online Campus. So basically, we are presenting the front end functional side of the Blackboard services and also the back end technical side of the Blackboard services. Okay? And so this webcast, basically, we're trying to inform you about what's been done and also what to expect for the next coming years. As some of you know, that there's a lot of the things been going on 2 years ago that the Blackboard has been down for quite often, right? So we want to let you know what's been done and then what can you expect. Now this slide right here is really to give everybody an overview as far as what's involved for the Blackboard learning management system. So on the left-hand side, the second one on the top is the Blackboard system itself. To make the Blackboard learning management system function the way that we wanted to, in the perfect world, that everything have to come in and then support and then everything have to work. So we have on the top, on the upper left-hand corner is the Oracle PeopleSoft, so which is our student information system, and which feed into a lot of data into the Blackboard, like the course ID, course name, faculty information, student information, so on and so forth. And then on the right-hand side next to that is the LDAP, which is the credentialing authentication. So basically, when you log into the NetID, your NetID username and password, you have to pass that LDAP authentication. So that's in other services. Now, under the Blackboard, there are third-party tools. Like most of the faculty member you probably know, there are Turnitin for plagiarism software. There's also like publisher content like Pearson Education. There's also like Scantron, like Class Climate and a Core Survey. And there's also like interactive tools between you and the student, which is the VoiceThread. And there are many other tools as well. Now, on the right-hand side, we have on the top is Blackboard 24/7, which is our Office of Online Campus. We do that during the business hours. And then after hours, the call goes to the after-hours support, which is support by the Blackboard. And then on the right-hand side, right in the middle, which is really our main customer, which is the faculty and student using the Blackboard, okay? So you can see really involving the IT, involving this Blackboard, involving the students, faculty, everybody. So even one piece that is not working, then the whole thing is not going to work. So a lot of times people say, okay, the Blackboard is not working. Sometimes the Blackboard is still working. Maybe the LDAP is not working, or maybe the Turnitin is not working. So just want to get everybody understand that there's a lot of pieces involved for making the Blackboard to work. Okay. The next one is about the background information, which David is going to take over from here.
Hi, I'm David Corral, and thank you, Roger, for the introduction and for taking us through what's involved in the overall Blackboard service. Some background information. The campus had Blackboard for about 15 years. Roger and I have been here for a couple of years, and when we arrived, we found it, kind of unsettling that the system itself was unstable, and that we were getting a lot of outages, and the outages were at very inopportune times. We would get feedback from students and faculty that the system would go down in the middle of an exam or in the middle of a lecture where somebody was actually trying to record the lecture. So it was quite a lot of instability that we found. We also discovered that the data within the system had been around for several years. The database was very, very large. The content, specifically the core content, was unmanaged, and internally the what we call batch processes, which are the processes that run every day looking at data to accumulate metrics or other things, were also inefficiently run. The best way that I can describe it is that the system could not finish one day's work in one day. Often those batch jobs would go on to the next day, and sometimes into the next day. It was very, very unstable, and the service was not very good. We also had to schedule quite a lot of downtime in order to do upgrades and to do fixes. Okay. And the result of this was that Roger and I, for several months, were always in reactive mode. And then, of course, there was a lot of unsatisfactory experiences from the students and the faculty. And we were unable to keep up or even adopt the latest Blackboard releases and upgrades or other things around the service that could help us. So the strategy that we undertook in order to improve the service, we decided, to be more proactive and stop being so reactive, right? So we instituted a 24/7, support structure for faculty and students, where once we leave the campus at 5 o'clock, if somebody calls us for assistance, the calls are routed to Blackboard support, and they would continue to help our students and our faculty. We also, embarked upon a strategy to improve the overall performance of the system and the availability of the system, and to maintain and keep it current with technology. So in June of 2015, we decided to migrate from self-hosted to managed hosted. This means that we actually took Blackboard and moved it away from the campus and moved it into data centers owned and operated by Blackboard. Okay, that was actually a very good thing for us because the stability started to improve. We could actually keep the system where we have had, no outages at all, or I should say no major outages unplanned. Okay, we enjoyed quite a lot of stability. Once we did that, we were able to upgrade and come up to current versions, and then we decided that we wanted to go from managed hosted to another environment called software as a service, and we actually did that in June of 2016, in time to test it to be available to the fall of 2016. The advantages of this upgrade, Roger will talk about later and will demonstrate it, but basically it allowed us to, number one, reduce the cost overall to the university. Number two, it allowed us to keep both a classic view for the instructors and the students, and also allows us to present what's called an ultra view, which is more of a mobile responsive view of the application. We then continued with the 24/7 support that actually worked very well for us, and so we fixed the timing, and we also moved the resources around. Now, to give you an idea of where the SaaS Blackboard world is, it is actually running in Amazon's, did we lose her? Did we lose our, no, okay. So it actually runs in Amazon's global cloud infrastructure that they call AWS. Now, their global cloud is all over the world, but our instances are running in the East Coast of the United States, specifically in Virginia, which is very good for us because it keeps us away from the earthquake faults in California. And it also gives us the ability to, if something happens in Virginia, to move things either, you know, to Canada or, excuse me, to Alaska or to Southern California somewhere. So it just gives us many flexibilities for recovery of the online Blackboard. The benefits to the university, there was no additional cost to move from managed hosting to SaaS Ultra. There's potential savings because of a new contract that the CSU has with Blackboard. So our overall cost will go down because of our move to a shared environment with other CSUs and other institutions. But the biggest benefit here is the increased productivity through downtime management. So we want to eliminate the quarter break downtime, and we pretty much have done that. We wanted to eliminate the weekly scheduled downtime, and we're well underway to doing that. And we want to eliminate all unscheduled downtime and provide Ultra experience for users. Also, in terms of the fact that we're in the cloud and we're supported by Blackboard, we repurposed the in-house Blackboard hardware. Some of the ITS support staff will be repurposed to other projects, things like PeopleSoft or identity management, authentication. Disaster recovery for us is a big benefit because now we don't have to worry about an earthquake in California. Our students can still log in. Our faculty can still, log into and continue to do their sessions on Blackboard. Also, we are promoting a culture of high availability technology and infrastructure within the university. Other application areas are looking at it, and hopefully will follow in the path that we've taken with this major application. So far, we are hearing the students and faculty that the satisfaction has gone up with the service. We are not yet fully satisfied. There's a lot more we can do, and we want the satisfaction to increase even more. The infrastructure savings, to give you an idea, and there's some technical jargon here. So we've repurposed 40 central processing units or CPUs. We've repurposed 296 gig of RAM memory and 23 terabytes of disk. And then we went from 3 to 1 dedicated system administrator on the IT side. So this is a very good benefit. And with that, I will turn it over to Roger, who can be more precise on the downtime, because he drives that with Blackboard and the IT team, quite nicely. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, David. So right now, just kind of give everybody an overview about the downtime management that we have because our department is an online campus. So really for online hybrid courses, operation-wise, we really don't want to have any downtime. That's the goal. So when we first started, as you can see from the top, is self-hosted. Before June 2015, we probably have to experiencing that quarter break downtime, about 336 hours per year, experiencing also the weekly downtime, total about 240 hours per year, and then other unscheduled downtime, like the system went down because the maintenance issues or the bugs, it's probably about 150 hours. So total is about 720 hours downtime when we were self-hosted. After we have moved to the managed hosting, which is right in the middle, so far last year since September 2015, We have no quarter break downtime. We have no weekly downtime. And we only experiencing unscheduled downtime it's less than 12 hours. And so right now, since September 2016, I'm sorry, it should be 2016 instead of 2015. Right now, again, we're not expecting any kind of quarter break downtime or weekly downtime. And our goal to have the unscheduled downtime is about 2 hours. And so far, we have been using about close to 50 minutes for that 2 hours downtime. So we're trying to closely monitoring it and make sure we don't go over that 2 hours downtime per year. Okay. Now, I just want to make sure everybody remember that we do have 24/7 technical support since November 2015 for faculty member and students. And that's the information listed on there for the phone number during the business hours and also after hours, or when our team is really busy, then the phone number is going to go over to that 1-855-414-9911. We also have the live online help. So to access the live chat, you can simply just log into the Blackboard, and then you're going to see a module that says 24/7 support. And for the after hours, weekend, holiday, those kind of support, of course, sometimes they might not be able to answer all the questions, customization question that you might have for all the tools that we have. But hopefully that can answer at least the basic Blackboard related questions. If they cannot answer it, they will escalate it to our team or directly to the Blackboard Tier 2 and then get back to you with the answers. Okay. Now, the current status that we are, just like David mentioned about, is the software as a service. We call that classic. So really, you're not going to tell the differences between the current view and what we have before June 2016, before we migrate to the SaaS environment. One of the advantage for the SaaS is that right now you're looking at is the very mobile responsive in the color design for the landing page. So if you're using the iPhone or iPad, you can pretty much tell that actually the pages is designed actually is responsive to your screen size. And right now we're on the release, it's called 3000.10. Now for the next quarter, or early fall, or either winter or spring, we will probably push out to what we call the Ultra View. Now, this Ultra View will have the optional Ultra Course View, which every faculty member, you can have the control. If you like to have the same classic view, whatever you're looking at that you have right now at this time, you can continue to have that. But after you have a chance to preview the Ultra, you can actually make the decision, say, okay, I like the Ultra View, and then can you please help me, and then I want to switch my course to the Ultra. Just contact our team or bbhelp@csuesb.edu, and we can help you to make the move or make the switch. So what to expect is basically 2017's winter or spring. You're going to see a little bit differences when you log into the Blackboard. So right now on the left-hand side is the current login screen. So if you remember the Blackboard, black is really, just think about the traditional Blackboard is black. So you're going to see a lot of color that's in black. So after 2017, once we switch, the login screen will look like the one on the right-hand side. And so our team would have a Ultra give you a preview actually in more detail at the end of October, and then every once a month after that. So we're going to actually do a lot of workshops and let you know what does the Ultra look like and what is the impact for your teaching if you decided to go to the Ultra View, okay? And so the next, the first one for that workshop is October 23rd, I believe, which we're going to send out announcement from the Academic Affairs newsletter. So once you log into the Blackboard, The next page is the landing page. So if you're the faculty member, on the left-hand side, if you remember, after you log in, then you probably will see different modules. And then the second module on the left is My Courses. Now, after we moved to 2017, we moved to the Ultra View. Your landing page is going to look different. Your landing page is going to have all the recent activity first. For example, assignment that you have to grade, or announcement that you have post, those kind of things is for stream. You're going to see that first. But basically your control is going to be on the left-hand side instead of on the top. So you still have the courses link, which is the third one on the list. So you still have the courses link, which actually can show you all the list of the courses. So this is once you click on the courses, you're going to see all the courses that you taught before, or the current courses that you're teaching, or the upcoming courses that you will be teaching. Okay, so each course is one square. Pretty much, you can just look at it. And then the next one is, once you go into the course, this is the classic view. If you don't do anything, your courses, once you click on the course, your course looks exactly the same. Nothing has been changed. So on the left-hand side is the current view, and then on the right-hand side is is what we call the Ultra Classic course. Okay, but if you decide to do a Ultra course, then the course look like on the right-hand side, which will show all the content. So instead of on the left-hand side, right now you're going to look at the syllabus is the link, and the course material is the link. It's going to be converting into folders for you. So everything will be organized by the folder. On the right-hand side, you can see the Ultra View is organized by the folder. So this is just a little bit taste about what's the Ultra course going to look like. So if you like that, your student like that, then you can actually let us know. We can switch that for you. Okay. Now, before I take any questions, let me go ahead and then show you a little bit about just on the live systems that we have. Give me a second here. Okay, so this is the really the live demo course. So remember we just mentioned about if you click on the courses, then you will see each course is a square. So if you have, let's say the first course is under the Ultra View, you click on that, it's almost like give you another layer coming over, and then all the contents become folders. Now, if you close this course view and you want to see what's the classic view, the second course is the classic view, you're going to notice that nothing has been changed and all your control is going to become icon. So this is just to give you a little bit ideas as far as what the course is going to look like. And right now, this is really a short presentation, the webinar. So we want to see if you have any question at all. I noticed there are 3 people, probably 3 faculty member join us, and there are a couple more staff join us. So if you have any question at all, feel free to use the chat or just unmute yourself. And I'll just wait for a few minutes. If you don't have any questions, then we're going to close this webinar. And then thank you for your participation. So any questions?
Hi, Roger. This is Guo.
Yes. Hi.
Hi. I've got a question about the student view.
Right.
So is there any news about their sort of like a change or creation of a real student view so that I can really see what the students experience. I understand that there's a lot of improvement, and then currently we can see a student view, but then when I try to really recreate the student experience, it's not the same.
Right.
And currently I'm using a kind of a surrogate student account, but still especially when it interacts with the external things, and then I got problems because I'm kind of a fake thing. So that's the thing that I have really sort of been struggling with when I teach, because students say I experienced this, and I just a lot of times that I can't really experience that, and I ask the students send me the screenshot. So I just wonder whether they have any plan on that.
Right. So it's really, I should say there are two parts of the answers to that. If you only using all the tools provided by the Blackboard, okay, if you don't use third-party tools at all, then you can just use this. Currently is available. There's a preview functions that allow you to become a student. But the problem is if you're using any third-party tools, like for example, Turnitin, VoiceThread, any third-party tools, then you will probably have to use the student account, which we created separate for you to log in as the student to experiencing what the student is going to go through. Then you will have to log out and log back in as the fake student fake account. So basically you can do it, but it just really depends on what you want to accomplish and what tool you are using for your Blackboard. And the same thing will happen when we switch to Ultra. And so you're still going to have the student preview functions if you're only going to preview what the student going to view from their point of view. If you don't use any kind of third-party tool, you still can use that function. But anytime you want to use any third-party tools, you have to use the student fake account that we created for you.
Yeah, I guess I probably want to clarify my question. So I can use my student account, a surrogate student account, but I can only see from that perspective. But I can't really see what a particular student's account looks like. And then a lot of times the students is that I've got this problem on my account. But I'm just sort of making an analogy from when I talk to the bank or credit card account, when I call, and they seems to be able to see exactly what I see as a customer.
Right.
And so, but I don't think Blackboard will allow us to do that. So I can't really see, let's say, Lisa has a problem, and then I can't really see sort of a click on Lisa's account and see what Lisa exactly sees. Does it make sense?
Yes. Yeah. And so I guess that's the part that only for the system administrator will have the ability.
Yeah.
Because in order to do that is what we call the login as or impersonate.
That's right. Yeah.
To do that, because really if we open it up for anybody to have that access, we are not going to know who actually make the changes on the student's view, whether or not is the student answering the questions, or is that student posting the materials. And so right now that functionality is really only limited to the system administrator. But if you do have any kind of the questions, let's say if you're questioning whether or not, let's say Roger is doing something funny, you can contact us, and then we can probably at that point because there's an issue we need to investigate, then we can probably just log in as the student and see if that really happening, or we can pull the log and see whether or not student actually doing things as the way they see it. But other than that, really your student account supposed to be able to see supposed to make you become a student, and you can see what the student are experiencing. But you're not going to be that specific student as impersonating that student to do things.
That's right. So there is any possibility or plan by Blackboard to allow that impersonation kind of a view, but with sort of like give the option of saying we can only view it, we can't really submit anything to prevent that kind of a complaint from the students.
Right, that would be a good suggestion, and I'll we'll take it down, write it down, and then we'll actually submit a ticket and see if that's something that they can do.
That would be great. That would be great. So I didn't realize that we do have that function. It's just like a issue.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good news. Actually,
level can do that right now.
Great. Thanks.
Right. Right.
That's my question.
Yeah, because there's also another thing is because the FERPA is when we if that function is available, we can only make sure that we have to make sure that they only, as the faculty, you're impersonating the student to only that courses that is actually having the problem, not to.
That's right. Yeah, and also I guess probably can be put it in. If the students wants to ask me a question, and they can sort of give me the permission.
Right. Exactly.
So, and then after that, and I don't have any permission anymore. Yeah, right. That would be great. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the question. And so we have another question from Lisa. It says, now I know I would choose the Ultra. I have noticed the reduced BB downtime. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Thank you for your comment. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you for everything. Well, I'll see you in the future.
Yeah, if you feel like your department need to have another, have one of our team member to go to your department to do the live demo during your department meeting, feel free to let me know. We have instructional designer, Monica, Cheryl, Meg, Bernie. They can go to your department, actually do a short presentation and kind of give you ideas as far as what's the website. So feel free to let me know. And Guo, I know right now you're in a department chair position. So if
I don't have any faculty. So. That's a fake chair.
But still, if you have any instructor, somehow you.
Yeah, I do have one only.
Right.
Level
studies. Let us know, we can do it. Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Or human development. If your home department, human development, they like to have those kind of.
Sure.
Over there to do a presentation, we can do that as well.
Sure. Do we have time for another question?
Oh yes, sure.
Okay, another question. I just so from this quarter, I just noticed some student told me they have been using the smartphones for the course, and then because of some of the things they say, well, that doesn't work, and then turns out they say, oh, okay, so I've been using portable mobile. And they say, oh, okay, so I have to get a computer. So is that true? Or, so for the mobile, do they have exactly the same function? I think one particular example was referring to the voice thread. And then the student says, I have a big trouble in uploading the voice thread. And I say, well, I don't understand why there's a problem. It's so straightforward for me. But then it turned out, and she was saying, oh probably it's mobile. Is that true? Or if it's true, is it going to be kind of a totally synced by Blackboard later in Ultra?
And that is another wonderful question. As you probably know, everybody got a mobile phone right now, right? So,
except me.
Oh, you don't? Seriously?
I do, but I don't use it.
That aside, we'll probably work with you to get you a cell phone. But we're not going to pay for it, of course.
Okay.
But just so you know, is on the mobile phone, it really depends on how the student access the Blackboard. There's a mobile app. It's the BB Student app. And there's also, on your iPhone, you can do the Safari, right? And Safari, but it's also mobile based. So currently the mobile app, the BB student, actually the look and feel is exactly the same as the Ultra View. Now, if they're using their phone on the Safari, just any browser, it's not going to be Ultra View. So if they're using the browser, then it's going to be a regular view, the classic. But again, like the voice thread, as we mentioned, is a third-party tool. This means they have to be able to connect it to the external source, which is the storage. Now, on their phone, right now it's a little bit different because depends on where they save the files, like PowerPoint. Is that on their phone? But it's on their phone. How is that going to upload to the Blackboard? It's different than the computer. So a lot of things, it might not be something that is wrong with the Blackboard. It might be something is like the student might not know that where they need to put it first. Like for example, maybe for the voice thread, it might be something that we have to let the student know, or we have to make sure that we investigate it and say, okay, maybe we need to find a storage that it can connect it to the Blackboard so easier for the student to use, like Dropbox. Maybe we need to have that connection. But right now there's no connection, of course, right? So that's something we need to look at. But any kind of third-party tools, usually there's the trouble because we cannot fully test it. But there's also, if they're using iPad, for example, as you probably know, that the campus has the Bay Cloud. So if they're using the Bay Cloud and they go into the Bay Cloud on their mobile devices, basically they have a full window that they can operate. Doesn't matter they're on the iPhone, iPad, but Windows, it's going to be, the screen looks very small, but they have the full functionality of the desktop if they go that route. But they have to make the request to the IT, say, okay, I need to have a Bay Cloud account so I can have another virtual terminal that I can access. So that's another way to do it. We did actually have people try that. It works, but it's just difficult because to put a window into an iPhone, you have to zoom in, you have to make sure that you're looking at exactly, you have to have a very tiny fingers to do it.
Yeah, very, very sensitive too.
Right.
Yeah, so that raises a kind of a policy practice issue, I think, for teaching. So now I understand that we want to make our teaching tools mobile because a lot of students do that. It's convenient. But for long term, for the instructor's responsibility, right, should we just assume I'm just teaching out of a computer and you just do a computer when you take a course online? Or should we now have to really sort of brush up our mobile knowledge and training, and then sort of make sure that I know what is going on out there beyond the computer? Is there any thought about that?
Yeah, I think it's probably from multiple different angles. From the faculty, we usually recommend, like for example, if they're using the Respondus Lockdown browser or proctoring tools, we always make the recommendations that including in your syllabus, that we have a boiler template we can share. Let's say, for example, Lockdown browser, please, if you're going to take the test, midterm or final, please go make sure you're on the desktop. And we have those language, we can make the recommendation to the faculty member if they're using that. So really on that angle really is we can provide the recommendations to the faculty to include it into their syllabus. Now the second part, yes, we do need to continue doing more training on the workshop with this type of workshop.
Including getting a new iPhone, huh?
Not for I was just kidding. So I really don't have a budget for Google to buy the
yeah, I know. Yeah. Even if I have the budget, we don't have the policy allowing it.
Exactly. So, but I really appreciate your input because that's something that's why we provide a webcast starting from this quarter. Every one of our workshop, we want to make sure we provide us the webcast so we can actually deliver it to a lot of the lectures. Usually it's not on campus. and also be able to record it so they can review it when they have time. But we also want to make sure our instructional designer go out and visit the department and then to provide that information. Now, the third angle is that I mentioned about is really something that on our end, we need to do some exploration and then see about whether or not are there any tools that we can make a better connections. Like, for example, I just mentioned about the Dropbox. Is there a connection that we can make so that way when the student are using the VoiceThread, it's easier for them to find the files from the Dropbox or Google Drive. So they can actually just link the document from their Google Drive, upload directly into the Blackboard. Because a lot of times, depends on where they save the information, really is difficult to upload the document from their iPhone. But if you can make that connection, if we can kind of explore it and then make that connection, it will be beneficial for the faculty and the students.
That's right. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of great ideas. Any other questions? Joy, are there any other questions? Do you have any questions for us? Sorry to put you on the spot.
And one last question.
Where can we find the recording? Oh, very good question. So let me see if I can do the, give me 1 minute. I'm going to take you to our website and I'm going to do a screen share for that. Okay, so this is the very nicely redesign of the Cal State East Bay homepage. If you scroll the web page all the way down, the easiest way I can tell is if you go all the way down, there's an online program on the website. And if you click on that and then click on the text one more time, it will take you to the online campus website. And then on the right-hand side, under resources and support, there's a workshop and archive for faculty. So if you click on that link, we actually have Tony and our office manager constantly update this page. So you can see right now we have several recording right now, like accessibility, the checklist for the accessible course design, multimedia, or engage the students, and then underneath that is the upcoming workshop for the rest of this quarter. Okay. And I hope that answered your question. Perfect. All right. Any other questions? If there's no question, I really appreciate every one of you participate and then have a marvelous evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.